I was on a listening vibe today, but wisdom kept pushing me like, go on, say that, say that, say that. But when I was listening to everyone, it just occurs to me that somewhere in anger there's a certain self-love that we tap into, and it's somewhere in anger, but I don't think it's a huge part of anger, but it's somewhere in anger. There's a lot of self-love, and I reckon that we can tap into that self-love without the anger. And because I realized that, but people like a lot of people, I speak to a lot of people now, like even my friends and a lot of different people, and I realize somebody might, even my mum, she might have a problem at work, and in her head, it is just embedded that there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. And when she phones me, you can hear her, she's down and she's out. But when she gets angry, she's like, she would stop doing those things that she's not happy doing. And she'll speak up for herself and she'll say something. And then obviously thinking gets involved, and you might say a little extra stuff. But I realize there's a certain level of self-love that comes with it where you won't put up with that no more, or you'll say something, or even with my missus, she would say something and I'll be like, wow, like that was 3 weeks ago. How comes it's only come across now? And I realize that's that self-love, letting it go, letting it out. And because it comes with the company of anger, it's I realize that I can't even see the wisdom in it because it comes with the cousin anger. So I can't even see that little wisdom of, wow, maybe that, do you know what I mean? Maybe there was some truth in there, or maybe that was because it came with the cousin anger. And the other side to that is it makes me, especially when I was listening to Darren, because I've been through like a similar situation, and it kind of made me realize how naive I was as well, how how much I was creating in the background. And to me, it comes like a game because I've played games from young to old, so I've seen the upgrade. Do you know what I mean? And back in the day, there used to be a game and the background's not really finished. You know what I mean? Past the background's not finished. But I realize now, nowadays games, the background's finished, the whole town is finished. There's another town. You can go in shops, there's civilians, they're driving. It's all so much more. And I realize that's how our brains are. It's like we create the background without knowing it. So it's like even when it comes to something and my missus holds it for 3 weeks, I realized maybe on that day, her thinking was like, you know what, I don't want to hurt him, or I don't want to say this, or I don't want to. And I realized that thinking kind of blocks us from that truth because it comes in the shade of love again. Like we don't want to hurt nobody, or we don't want to put anybody down, or we don't want them to see us like that person, or and there's a lot of thinking at stake. So I just realized that there's a lot of thinking in the background whilst we use words to kind of simplify. There is a lot of thinking in the background, and I realized that it's like what Alfie said. It just comes with being present. Because even me and my missus, we kind of just had it was like a week off, but you could call it a week off where it's like in the morning, yeah, you're right. I make my own coffee. She makes her own coffee. I'm out. Do you know what I mean? I'm at work, come home, chill, see the kids. I'm out with the boys. And we did that for a week. We just kind of didn't talk. And then it's like yesterday, we kind of just got together, had a little row, calmed down. And then we had this beautiful talk about exactly like about what we was talking about just now about saying those things. Do you know what I mean? Sitting down, saying those things. And even if it gets to a point where it's getting irate, we kind of know what's going on. We know what's going on in the mind. So we can take five, take five. And it was a great conversation yesterday because even the main bit for me was, well, I can't remember what the conversation was, but she said to me, that you're a bit more wiser than me. You've been through a bit more things than me. Why don't you take lead? And in my head, I was like, but I'm kind of talking to you about taking lead, but I didn't think about it like that. But when we had the conversation like that, she said, why don't you kind of take lead on that? And in my head, I'm kind of trying to show her to take lead on that. But in my head, I'm thinking, for real. Now, if she said that in an argument state, in anger, I probably wouldn't have heard the wisdom there at all because now my thinking is that, nope, you're angry, you're coming at me, or this, that, that. But where we kind of settled and had this conversation around those, and I wouldn't say hard topics because they're only hard when you think they are. It actually gets so lighter when you're open with it. Do you know what I mean? And we had this light conversation and kind of just saw what each other was talking about. And then from there, and what else come with that as well was patience. Do you know what I mean? Just patience for each other. Patience because she's a very good texter. And me, I hate it. I hate it because I can say something to you and you think I'm angry, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm perfectly fine. Do you know what I mean? And this, you just articulate it through text. You know what I mean? But it's like we get to know each other more when we sit down in a level and talk, and the hard conversations are just not hard no more because I'm kind of just out of my ego, out of my whole creation into the present.
Same sort of thing. You know, when we build up an image of ourselves, or we think how other people see us, and we're prepared to defend the position that we think we're coming from, and then everything we build up, we know where everyone else is coming from, so we build our defenses accordingly. But when you just see and you're ready to be open, and you said present, to be open to just listening to how somebody else might see you, and that might not go with the way that you thought you were showing up. It's about just listening and accepting that, and that's the thing that stunned me. The same sort of thing you're talking about is the same sort of thing where I thought I knew what I was doing, and I thought I knew sort of like from the front foot, but it's all coming from that made up, that space where we've made up how things should look on both sides. And when we just accept that we don't know anything, we just know how to show up in the moment in an accepting space, then I think that's when that's when the eyes are open and you see something new.
Wilson, I love you, bro. I've been sat there. I've had a thing that I wanted to say, and I knew where I was going to go with it. It was based on what Jacqueline was saying, and then Alfie said something, and it all connected together. And I was like, okay, I know where I'm going. I'm going to riff on it. And then you pop in and you give me the language that I know because we're the same, and you give me the language and the tools to say the right thing. So good, so good. You never know what game people are playing and what their thought. What they might be playing Super Mario Bros. They might be playing a 2D side scroller. You don't know if they're in VR. They might have had the whole background. I've played games where the background is so well done. You're disappointed when you get to it and you can't open the door to the house. You're like, what do you mean? I've got this whole town and you haven't let me go through the door. Like, you never know what people are playing though. People might be playing a 2D side scroller. People might be playing VR. You've got no idea. And the connection that I made with your first story, Jacqueline, and what you connected with Alfie was, it's all about being honest with what's in front of you right now and the art of storytelling. So if you turn up with an energy with somebody that you love and you blurt out, this really exciting thing happened to me, and they're going, whoa, you don't even see it. You just absolutely bomb them with this high energy, splurt out. And at the end of it, you look at them and you go, yeah, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think about that? And they go, I think I need to lie down, or I think you need to lie down. Or in my case, it was he was so brutally honest with me. He said, I'm going to be honest, mate. You killed me. You've killed me there. And I was, what do you mean I killed you? Like, did you not see how excited? And he's one. He's definitely one for how you bring energy to the table, and people can feed off each other's energy. And you bring a high energy, and I'm going to be high energy, and we're all going to be high energy together. And I gave him this massive high voltage energy, and it fried him, absolutely fried him. And he's someone that I dearly love. He dearly loves me, and he would have definitely, he previously has been interested in the same topic and whatever, but I had no idea what game he had on in his head, and his game could not comprehend the background that I was trying to give him. He was in a 2D bloop, 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 and I gave him, I stuck a VR goggle on his head, and he went, oh, how do you move my hands? How do you do anything? And it also brought me around to realizing that the art of listening isn't the sole responsibility of the listener, because you as the storyteller should also be listening to the listener, and that allows the separate realities and the separate games to kind of connect. And you can see if somebody's just holding a Nintendo controller and you've got like wizardry stuff going on, and if they've got 2 buttons and a D-pad and you've got too much stuff going on, you're not playing the same game, and you should be able to see that. So thank you, because yeah, as a listener you should, as a storyteller you should be listening too.